Hey, what's up, guys? It's Aragon. Recently, otherwise known as yesterday, I won OSDT. So today I just want to kind of analyze my top cut games. I had a few good sets, which were pretty fun, I guess. And then I guess I'll go over my teams, which I'm personally more interested in doing actually than um, actually reviewing the sets, I guess. But yeah, it should be fun. Uh, so yeah, this was a fairly long tournament. I still haven't really fully processed that I won, I guess, but here we are, right? But yeah, so I guess this started back in February or March. I honestly didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to the tour until probably um, the round where I queued into Dubious, which was round 6. Um, and I kind of just loaded teams that I had, strong teams that I knew were good enough to win games, and yeah, I did that for a while. Eventually, I ended up cutting the tour, from which case I started to devote a little bit more time. I didn't really actually really prep, I guess, until top 4, but I still put more time into it. And I think my cut games were much higher quality than the games I played before cut, which I played a few kind of inexperienced players early rounds. I played a few decent players, but you know, it's I either had matchup or I didn't really feel they were that too interesting, actually to analyze. So we'll just go over the cut games. My round against Dubious was interesting. That was the only round I lost in the whole tour. That was an interesting 3-game set. Might analyze it if I have time here in this video, but yeah, so that's that. But mostly, yeah, I really want to go over the teams. I feel like there's such a wide variety of solid teams in this one, and I really felt part of the reason I was able to succeed in this tournament, even though I really didn't devote a whole lot of time to it for most of the tour, was just I had a really wide variety of selection of teams. And it really kind of was an experience to me that was very reminiscent of when I started to play DOU back in late Gen 8, right? It was a lot more about the play in this tour as opposed to the actual prep and building, which I really enjoyed, to be honest. I've always been someone that um I think my play has actually stayed relatively similar over the years. I feel actually look back at my games. But for a long time I used obviously a lot more gimmicky troll strategies that I thought were kind of funny. Eventually kind of around last year I kind of decided that that wasn't really as fun as it used to be, and I just kind of wanted to just play the game. So yeah, that's kind of been where I've been at for lately. Uh, Before this, the last couple of individual tours I played, I think were old gens. I really have not played a whole lot of individual tours over the years, which is kind of bad. But you know, it's just I've been focusing on a lot of team tours and stuff. But I kind of yeah, I kind of just got kind of tired of the team tour experience. Kind of just not really being in control of your games, and also I was just okay, I need to I think it would be kind of fun to start, just focusing on playing the game as opposed to building it, because I haven't had as much time the last few years to actually build. Although it's still one of my favorite things to do. So yeah, I think I had a very strong advantage in the builder for the most part in this tournament, and so that's kind of the main thing I'd like to go over. But of course, the games were fun too, I guess. um, so yeah, we'll do that, and yeah, I hope you enjoy. So yeah, I wanted to start off with the top 16 here. I played Red Zone in top 16. Red Zone, obviously, one of my longest friends on Swogon, who actually made cut using many of the same teams that I did, um, which was pretty funny when I briefly looked at his scout, and I was just kind of okay. So for context, right? The tier has been in kind of it's in a very very stable position lately, to be honest. The last several years, SV was kind of it had at least one thing that was pretty broken at all times, and there was still kind of active tiering action. We had Arch legal for a while, and after the Arch ban, the tier got really good. In 2025, the tier was very good. I mean, there was still a lot of development happening, so you couldn't get away with reusing all your teams, because you kind of had to keep pace a little bit. But early into this tour, Spoffer actually got banned, and while a Spoffer was not super common, it really its ban, I think, really made the tier a lot better. Like, you're not having to like it's still good to have, like counterplay to like a lot of like heavy setup stuff, but um, it doesn't really need to be as like heavy or like dominating as it was with a spot for legal, which was something like always kind of frustrating because it never really felt like you were actually playing the game against the Swafra. So yeah, there's been like a whole lot of like Roy and Moot stuff. Bulkier teams. The tier kind of like slowed down after the Arch ban. That has continued post the Spafra. The more offensive stuff you still have to respect, but teams have gotten better at like actually dealing with that stuff, which I think has made the tier a lot more interesting. And so yeah, so something you'll notice about like basically all of my opponents is that they all had like very very high Roy Moon usage. Roy Moon was a Pokemon like I've been a big fan of for a very long time, since like basically the beginning of the gen. But it really like started to take off with the general player base like last year, and so now it's like kind of everywhere, which is kind of funny. Like having been someone that was like really into it for like a long time. But yeah, now it's like Roy Moon is everywhere. It's a lot less interesting. I can't lie, but nah, just kidding. But it's a cool Pokemon. But there's like a lot of it. Like most of like the scouts I looked at, like Roy Moon was like a top 5 Pokemon in their scout. So that's like, you know, pretty notable. And Red Zone was like no exception, right? So when I looked in the builder, right, I was like, okay. I was kind of looking for like the teams that I had and that I'd loaded. And I was like, okay, I haven't loaded Primarina at all, which is like Primarina is just like kind of a funny Pokemon. It's like not that great, but it does have the benefit of like being very, very strong into Roy and Moon teams, right? And I knew if since I was playing Red Zone, I didn't want to load something that was like in the builder that I'd shared with him, like in like round 2 or something. So I was like, okay, I'll make a new like Roy and Moon Primarina team and I'll load that into him. And it ended up pulling up a really great matchup. As we look at this, I think this is actually a team that I built like a year ago. Like I thought it looked familiar when I played the game, but I didn't actually recognize it. Like I looked at my builder, it wasn't there. I was like, oh, okay, maybe he just like got it from somewhere else. And then like 2 days later or something, I was like, oh wait, I know that team. I built that in like early 2025 or something. So I actually like I'm pretty sure I built this team that he was using, but I didn't really realize it at the time. I thought it looked familiar though. But it's a great matchup. Like Primarina goes in here. I didn't really preserve it the best in this game, but the matchup was just like really good. So I led hands Primarina. I was Grassy Seed because it seemed the most like consistent way to like actually make the use of the Pokemon's like type matchups and stuff. So there's that. Okay, let's see. Let's get into the game. So yeah, I click Fake Out on the hand to turn 1, get Calm Mind up immediately, right? So I have to be like kind of fearful of Wild Charge from this hands, which is going to do a fair amount. It's not going to like kill because I got the defense boost, but it's going to do like 80%, right? If I let it my Primarina just take that. But I do have like a lot of threatening damage down under the hands. I don't actually remember when I clicked this turn, but it's not like in any immediate danger, but I'd like to preserve the Rilla if I can. It'll just make it more easier to position this endgame. I think I might have just like double attacked, to be honest. Okay, I just let Rillaboom go down. I got a lot of damage on the hands. Like I was comfortable like risking the health on Primarina, right? Because like obviously he has to consider that I can Terra, and like it's not going to kill me if like he doubles into the Primarina, then like I just kill the hands because the Rilla will get an attack off. So don't really fully disagree with that. Although I feel like maybe I could have just Terra'd, to be honest, to be safer. I think I ended up doing that anyway. Um, no, I didn't. Okay. So I just clicked it again, but he actually burns Terra, and I end up taking like 80% anyway. So that's like really bad. I probably could have prevented that or like read the Terra. But I mean, I've still made a pretty amount of substantial progress. I really kind of disagree with this click, I guess. Um, well, I guess it was like fine. Like, I want to live from this any. Um, yeah, Hyper Voice. Yeah, I mean, I got a really big early lead out of this Primarina, but still, like burning the Terra. I mean, it's not the end of the world because, obviously he just burned Terra on the hands the previous turn. But yeah, the Primarina is low, so I actually have to like kind of like navigate this endgame rather than just like play brain dead Primarina stuff like I intended to do earlier in the game. And so yeah, what is the backs? The backs looks Glaive Rush. If it clicked SD or something, I'm not even sure if it had it. I don't remember the paste. But yeah, I ended up actually getting this turn wrong. I expected the Lando to be the one that protected, but I Moonblasted to the backs. He protects the backs, which was a really good play. But I'm still like really far ahead in this game, and I know if I like position my pieces well, I can still win. Um, I expected him to play defensively with the backs. I just like kind of doubled it out. Um, I wasn't sure if it'd be like, yeah, I just wasn't really sure what he was going to click. So Lando was like a pretty safe switch. I was pretty sure he was going to play defensively with the backs. So I would like preserving the gold was really important here. I felt because like it just makes it's. I don't want it to just like I don't want him to switch out and like you know like he sacks HP on something and then the Lando kills my gold and then I can no longer beat the backs easily, right? So this turn I again double into a protect, which is pretty bad, but it's like not the end of the world. I still have Tailwind. Kill the Moon, he actually has to just uh, attack me. And then the other gold just kind of wins, right? So even though it's at like -1, it's still like completely fine. And I still have a full health Heart Flame, which has some bulk on it as well. So yeah, pretty safe endgame here. Bax is going to live, obviously, because -1. It looks like it would have lived anyway, which is kind of nuts, but here we are. And yeah, that's game 1. So yeah, I really just won this off a matchup, to be honest with you. Like, I didn't like preserve my pieces like incredibly well or anything, but it was like fine. So the Prim was just a good load. This was an interesting, kind of just a standard like Roy and Moon team. It just happened to have Prim on it. So yeah, that's game 1. And game 2 was actually like one of my favorite teams I built during like the cut part of the tour. I actually modeled this off of my good friend Nicholas Morales and his Reg F team, which actually was Flutter over Glamora, and I think in the end he ended up putting Ursh over Wellspring, but this was a team he used in a couple of regionals. And I thought it was like really cool, and I was like, okay, this is something that is Red Zone is not going to like. It's not going to be on his radar. It's something new. I wasn't like anything like particularly about his scout that I thought was cool about it. I did make it because like the original team before we made it Ursh was Focus Energy Wellspring, so that's kind of the focus of this team as well. And this became a kind of a common thing I started using a lot in cut. There was a lot of teams that I thought were like quite weak to Focus Energy that I saw in scouts, which was kind of funny. And I just think it's like a really good set right now. It makes like Wellspring and Heartflame a lot more, like you're still not like doing 1 billion damage to Roaring Moon like by default, but like it just makes it. You could just like start clicking Ivy Cudgel into anything, and it's like fine. And on this team, I actually made it play rough because I knew he had a whole lot of Roaring Moon teams. Like a lot of people, like myself. But I mean, I had a lot of Roaring Moon usage, but it wasn't like mod or anything. I'll show like my usage stats later for what I use. I think it'll be kind of funny towards the end of the video. So yeah, I thought this was like a really, really fun team. I think the Wellspring just kind of went in, if I remember right. Yeah, so we get the Ogre Pawn instantly. This is pretty safe. I can just like click Fake Out plus, Focus Energy. I don't need to worry about like hitting the Grim or anything. So he defensively, switches out the Grim. He doesn't actually get Tailwind up or Reflect up, which doesn't mean a whole lot to me because, like, I have, like the Focus Energy up, right? So, and here I have Assault Distance, and I don't want like my Wellspring to like die to something if he Terra's like something and whatever, right? So I didn't really want to I didn't want to burn Terra on Ogrepon in this matchup. There was something else I think I really wanted to use Terra on. I think it was maybe the gold, or something of that sort. I don't fully remember my thought process here, but yeah. So we just got the Sludge Bomb. I was like, okay, that's fine. Like Sunshine is still not going to like actually kill my Wellspring, and so I opt to just like kill the Moon here with Play Ref, which is unrevealed technology. So. Goodbye, Roaring Moon. Crit probably doesn't even matter, even though it's 50%. And he actually overreads me here and clicks Steam Eruption, predicting my Terra, which is incredible. Like, I didn't really feel like carrying the Wellspring yet because I didn't think it was going to win the game by itself. And, like, it makes me weaker into the Cine a little bit. And, yeah, I think, yeah, I was really worried about Lando late game, actually, if I burned Terra on Wellspring. That's what it was. Because this team doesn't really have it doesn't have a ground resist if the Wellspring Terras or like dies, and it's like, oh wait, all of a sudden I just lose to Lando. That actually becomes a huge problem in this late game, I think. So yeah, that was what I was worried about. And yeah, sorry, like it's been like a month since I played this game. I'm trying to kind of like remember from memory what I was thinking. But yeah, now I've gotten way more progress with the Wellspring. I was pretty sure I could just like Terra and win the game now. I basically kind of just ended up getting every turn right with the Wellspring early in the game, which was nice. Goodbye, Grimsnarl. He's going to click Sludge Bomb into my Wellspring. Thankfully, no poison. The city comes in here, but this crit is going to do a lot of damage. Um, and I end up getting the knockoff, which is nice. Sure Option goes into my Assault Missiles, and I take it Gut Brutally. And he clicks Matcha Gotcha. So now my Wellspring is like pretty low, but it's made like a lot of progress. So the endgame is still not completely easy, but it is definitely like very fair for me. So I have options to preserve my Ensign, get a Mungus in. Steam Eruption into Ogre Pot. I've been really lucky not getting any secondary effects. And yeah, there's another Ivy Cudgel. Very nice. He actually gets a burn on Wellspring, which is makes this whole endgame a lot more uncomfortable, to be honest, because like I said, Lando is still alive, and now my Wellspring is dead. And, like, I've burned Terra. I don't really have defensive ways to play around it. My Moon is both low and has used its booster energy, so getting the speed control over the Lander is going to be difficult. But I do have a Mungus. So Mungus is, I know I have to preserve health on that guy. I get the Meteor Beam off into DNC. I don't really know why he protected that. And now, like, okay, I kill the Volcanion, but this is still like a really tight endgame in a way that it really probably wouldn't have been if Wellspring hadn't gotten burned. But I did like dodge secondary effects for like 10 turns, so I can't like really complain. So, so now, yeah, I've opted to sack the Ensign. I really just wanted a Mungus to be at full health to potentially try to win this game. Ensign's gonna die. And now I get free Roaring Moon Switch, and I can get one big attack off of Glimmer. So basically what this becomes is like, okay, I can like, if I don't poison the Landorus, even during tail end, my Amoonguss is still going to be slower than his Landorus, like basically no matter what his spread is. If he was like literal 0 speed, I think would be speed tied, because I think my Amoonguss is like 93 speed, and mid speed on Landorus is 186. So yeah, if I don't get the poison, I think the Amoonguss can win. Amoonguss Gold can win, because DNC isn't going to do a whole lot of damage to either of those guys. I think not Wellspring, my Amoonguss is like there's death, so it's really gonna like it's gonna be fine into this DNC. See, I get the Tailwind up. This is really just for one attack. I just want the one attack. I ended up getting a crit, which is like really nice. And because I ended up getting the poison, this would have been really bad if I, just got the poison. But because I got the crit, it was fine. Again, I really just needed it to not get poisoned. But who can really complain, right? So now it's low enough that it doesn't really matter, and the poison just like wins the game for me by itself. But yeah, again, like it was going to be fine if I had a Mungus, or if it didn't get poisoned and it didn't get crit, it was going to be fine. So I've actually like grassed out on this Amoonguss, which is really funny for like the Ursaluna matchup. And yeah, the gold just kind of wins. So yeah, that was my set against Red Zone. Not like particularly close games, but definitely like this second end game, like I played it a bit sloppy during the Wellspring, and like the Lando kind of got a little bit out of control in the late game. So definitely that. But like, they were just solid teams. They kind of won for me, I guess. And like, I don't think I looked like too bad in these games anyway. But definitely, like, I could have preserved my pieces better. I think, like, if I didn't Terra the Wellspring, I could have Terra'd the gold, and I think it probably could have just won easier. I think it was like Terra Dragon or something. But yeah, I guess this is like kind of one soft spot of this team is it's like a little bit weak to Lando in the wrong position, and he just kind of had a lot of things that were like annoying for the Cine that I couldn't like break through. Right, he had like 3 water resists and an immunity, or 2 water resists and immunity, so that was kind of annoying. But like it was chill. So yeah, what else about this team? Meteor Beam Glamora was pretty cool on this. I really like the Wellspring set. I ended up using like a lot of similar sets in the coming rounds, as we'll see. So yeah, this was pretty nice. So that was pretty good games. Like obviously, if I had gotten the poison and no crit on the Landers, I think I just lost. So definitely lucky that since I got the poison, that I got the crit. So that was really fortunate. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, now in the top 8. And this was like one of the first rounds where I was like really starting to prep more. I honestly wasn't really confident that I could beat Anne, but I figured it was kind of going to come down to matchup. And like I was playing some test games with like Chris Numbers, like I don't know, like a half hour before the game. I built like this kind of like LARP Cinderace Sun team, except I took off the Cinderace for like Walking Wake. And he was like, "Nah, just like use the other Oracle Barcelona team," which I played in tests against him with like many times. And so this was like a really strong team. And so I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. I don't really need to reinvent the wheel. I could just load something solid in it, like try to play it out. And I ended up getting a really nice matchup because like Torkoal wasn't in my scout like at all, but it seemed like pretty nice into Anne. So yeah, we get the Rillaboom Crest lead. Just trying to get up Trick Room really early here. I'm Mental Herb Crest, so if it's taunt, like it's fine. So yeah, I pick out the Hearthflame, and she actually just goes for the knock into Crest, so you take a lot of damage. And here's like kind of like the defining turn of this game. I basically realized that like okay, Rillaboom is nice to have, and like I wish I could preserve it, but like I really don't have a safe click to preserve it. Like it's maybe a little bit unlikely for her to like click Woodhammer into one of these slots, but like it's still enough to kind of deter me from going DNC because I feel like DNC is like really integral to winning this game. So I actually just opted to like double into the Roaring Moon and like let my Rillaboom die because like just I was more comfortable losing the Rillaboom than potentially losing something to the neck. So he doesn't overreach, just goes for the knock, the knock, and the Ivy Cudgel into Rilla. Rilla dies, but that's fine. The Antsi's in him, Hardstone. I now have a couple turns to just like spam attack buttons, and yeah, I Diamond Storm here. Hands takes basically nothing, but it's fine. I got Torkoal in, and here I was actually like kind of afraid of Fake Out, but like I kind of was just like I basically decided that I wanted to still have like the option of like attacking if the hands like want to fake out into the Torkoal for whatever reason. So I decided to like Terra the Diancie to just be safe. It was like a fine Terra in the matchup, and it turns out like the hands was actually SD and not fake out, so double attacking ended up saving me. I wasn't, to be honest, I was kind of just expecting it to be AV, but like looking at the team again in hindsight, it's like, oh yeah, this was obviously going to be like some kind of setup here, but it ends up working out. I think like attacking there was just pretty safe anyways, so it was like fine. Landorus comes in, and obviously like both slots are going to protect, so I want to get in my faster bond here to try to like ensure that I can take advantage of when Trickerman's. Torkoal is going to do enough damage on its own. I don't really need to attack with DNC. Um, so yeah, I can kind of cover for everything. Just I think I protected Hearthflame and sacked Crest. The goal here is just to get DNC and Hearthflame into position again to win the game. So yeah, there's the Crest. I actually just kill the hands. Um, and it could have been really scary if she went for Sludge Bomb on this turn, but she actually just didn't. Opting instead to just click Sancer, which was like kind of a neutral ground cover for the Torkoal still being in. But that works out well for me. Now all I need is like one follow me off from this Hearthflame to win the game. If Hearthflame is actually faster than the Lando, if the Lando was slower and the Hearthflame was bulky, then I actually like I'm not confident I could guarantee a second trip up with DNC because it's possible like Sancer plus Ivy Cudgel and Sun. Well, I guess Sun would be out. But like my DNC would take a lot more damage than I'd be like really comfortable with. But thankfully, the Hearthflame is revealed to be faster on this turn, and there's nothing funny like substitute from the Lando, and so I just get a really free follow me into just like Trick Room, and now I'm pretty confident. Bar like a double protect, bar like two double protects. I think I'm safe to just win the game with these two Pokemon, Torkoal and DNC. And Ursaluna is also fairly bulky, so even if like Trick Room goes up, it can still like kind of 1v1. Hopefully, like one of the Pokemon that's not Sinistra. So yeah, here's the first turn of Trick Room. He just double protects. Safe. You always want to click that. Sinistra comes in. That's just a sack. Um, and Kyurem as well. And they just take massive damage. So Kyurem actually dodges Diamond Storm, which makes this game a little bit dicier. But it ends up being fine if like as long as like there's not still not a double protect. It's still the same situation. Again, like as long as one of these Pokemon dies before Trick Room ends, it's fine because the Ursaluna can still kind of like clean up. Yeah, the Landorus protects. Hearthflame tries to protect. Thankfully, it doesn't, and I get the Diamond Storm off into it. And with Hearthstone, that's just a kill. So that's the game. So that's game one. Pretty pretty interesting game one. The team was just kind of like rolled a good matchup. Shout out Chris Numbers for getting me to load this for game one and not whatever Walking Wake team I was going to load instead. um, yeah, that was game one. Game two, I opted to kind of go back to like my bread and butter of this like kind of team. It's very similar to like the Elizabeth Reg F team. Me and like one of my friends had been like kind of labbing this out in DOU for like a while, and he was still using like POW on the Bronzong slot, but I like really wasn't liking POW. I just feel like it makes you have like too many rock weeks, which is kind of like not the end of the world, but the team already has like a lot of like ice weeks, and I don't really like stacking like, too many weaknesses on my bonds generally. So I opted instead to just like I tried a few different things. Like I had like Wellspring on this team during like the initial rounds of the tournament, and that was like fine. But what I ended up doing actually was I decided I was like I really wanted like the type benefits of Bronzong. So what I ended up making it be on this team was I made it like iron defense, body press, and then I actually made it stabs. I made it heavy slam and Zen headbutt, so you could like coach it or like howl it with something else. Exactly for this Dogi matchup, because Dogi is like really annoying for this kind of team structure because you can't really like break it like too easily, which is kind of annoying. So I wanted like a like besides the Gaptos can handle it, but the rest of the mods kind of can't. And so that's kind of like the main thing here. And it's also nice into like snow and other stuff. Like just being like a steel psychic type with levitate is just really nice. So it was like kind of like a nice slot on this team, which is kind of like similar to like the Elizabeth team from McGaff. It's Terra Blast Poison Tinglu with like Earthquake and Throat Chop, and then Howl, Gouging Fire, coaching Gaptos. I don't actually remember if my if the Gaptos or the Gouging Fire is faster. Let me see. It's, oh yeah, it looks like I had the Gouging Fire faster, so I can like howl the Gaptos, which is like pretty standard. I think. I mean, there's some people I think there's some situations where like being able to coach the Gouging Fire would be funny, but I think like the Gaptos is more likely to want to. You don't really always want to lock into coaching. It's like nice to have, especially on the Ting Lu, because there's some positions where that just wins. But generally, it's mostly for that. I don't think you get like a whole lot of value out of coaching the Gouging Fire anyway. So that seems fair, I guess. Okay, so yeah, I ended up actually getting this turn wrong. Uh, well, I was kind of expecting it to be like Terra Dragon. I was like, okay, this looks like a Specs Gold team. I'm just gonna like double into the gold. It's actually Terra Fairy Specs and just like kills my D-Date, which is like kind of annoying, but it's like fine. D-Date's like not super important in this matchup. That's part of why I let it. And I'm basically going to be able to get Trick Room up for three, and like the first like two mons here are kind of chipped. And I know the gold is like locked into Deagling, so the bronze long's pretty safe here. And this was like kind of the team that really put me on to like Strength Sap Suni as like being like really strong. Like it's been on my radar for a long time. But I get the strike stop off there, and then like basically the Sinistra like takes no damage on that turn compared to the beginning. And here's like the funny turn where I get the Zen Headway off, and it's just like yeah, like the Dogi could have like easily won the game from here if this was not Zen Headbutt. So that was really huge. The reason why it's Zen Headbutt and not like like Psychic or something is like I felt like there'd be a lot of positions where you have like Ting Lu uh plus Bronzong on the board, and you don't really want to like weaken your like actual damage into Dogi. And also you can like click funny coaching and howl buttons next to the Bronzong, which like very rarely comes up, but if it comes up, like it would be kind of nice to have that option. So yeah, there's the Terra Fire on the Bronzong. That kind of just wins the game. I actually get to click Heavy Slam for fun. Um, by this point, like the game's not like fully over, but I am in like a very strong position. And I just kind of have like a lot of resources left, whereas like a lot of her Pokemon are low HP, and knocking out the Bronzong is going to be annoying. The Wellspring actually goes for Taunt, um, which doesn't really matter. I'm not trickery on this Bronzong, so I just get the Body Press off into the Wellspring, which is nice. And now Gold comes in, but yeah, I can't really do a whole lot here. End up going for the Brave Bird. Deaglim could have been scary here, but I think I still have enough pieces to win the game if Bronzong is healthy. It actually goes for Power Gem instead, but Bronzong lives because Bronzong is just built like that, I guess. Non-stab Power Gem. Pretty strong into the right targets, but not like ridiculous or anything. And now Gapdos and Bronzong can just kind of win the game. There's the Brave Bird and Delando. I think the Tinglu win. The Tinglu just kind of wins. It's not really. I don't really need to like too overcomplicate it here. So yeah, that's the game. That's the set. So yeah, I definitely got like pretty lucky in like matchups here. Which was like I didn't really like focus on like hard C teaming and because like she had like a wide variety of stuff. But it's notable again, like my both my opponents. I've played only Roy and Moon teams in the first two rounds of cut, which is just kind of indicative of where the tier is at the moment. Mm. So yeah, this was pretty nice. I was like really glad to make it this far, and I decided I was gonna like spend more time like on prep in the next couple of rounds because it would be a kind of a shame to fumble the opportunity. And yeah, so this team was like one of the teams that carried me through like the Swiss rounds. So it was nice to get like one more win with it, but I wasn't really comfortable bringing it again after this because it was like in my scout like a billion times, and now like this was actually the first time like all the bronze arm moves got revealed. So like you know, fair enough. Like I was like, okay, I've gotten enough value out of this team. I don't really want to get it C teamed. I think it's kind of a difficult team to actually C team, but it can definitely be done. Like it has a lot of nice weeks and overlapping weaknesses, and yeah, so very nice to get this team one last win, and couldn't have come at a better time because I think Anne was definitely like the most difficult opponent I faced in the tour. So it was like I was, kind of surprised that I won in two games to be honest, but I just like my matchups were just like that positive, um, that it was just kind of like fine. Okay, so yeah, that's top eight. That was nice, and now we're into top four. So this was a very very close set. So in game one, my opponent was another player who'd like used like a lot of Roaring Moon. He'd actually like specifically used like the Schuster like sample team with like Blood Moon and like Sinistra and like Galarian Moltres a lot. So that was like the kind of the main thing I was focused on, like not losing to. But I wanted to cover for everything else as well a little bit. So this team was kind of like primarily to see team the Roaring Moon team, but like it really was not like that solid of a team. I really should not have loaded at game one, and I got like immediately hard punished because this matchup is like kind of unplayable, to be honest. It's just going to be like really difficult to make progress with Cord. The only saving grace is if like the original team doesn't have like Whirlwind. This is like a ZSCL team with some edits, so it's going to be like Scarf Gold and like uh, Grassy Seed Tinglu. It's just like really difficult. And rocks go up immediately, and the Tord is kind of just like in like a really bad position. I can never switch it out. One saving grace here is like the team is not like Whirlwind, the Z team, so that's like pretty nice. But we're actually going to see that it actually is Whirlwind on this version, which kind of makes it like fully unplayable. I think I'd kind of just the game is just kind of over from this point. But I do kind of try to like claw my way back into it. This turn I was being like really aggressive. I think I earth powered the slot to just try to kind of like try to catch something coming in. Don't get it. Rillaboom stays healthy. I mean, obviously Sludgefall wasn't going to kill anyways, so there's that. My infant is at least boots, but it's not really enough to save the matchup. Whirlwind again, and yeah, it's just like I just can't kill the Tinglu in time before like the rest of my mons take too much damage. This turn I actually got perfectly right. I earth powered I kind of like saw it coming, but U-turn doesn't even kill the Gouger, and it's like okay, I didn't even like really make that much progress. Especially with like Lando no longer on the board and torn down. It's kind of like I can't get the speed advantage into this or the Scarf Gold, so it's kind of wraps from here. I am like Focus Energy Wellspring again, so potentially that could have won the game, but I'm also not Grass Move, so I can't hit the opposing Wellspring with redirection. So it was just kind of chopped. This was not like a very very good bring, in my opinion. I just kind of like it was good into the just like most used teams, but less good obviously into something like this, which I didn't really fully see coming. Yeah, this game's just kind of gonna wind down. I don't think there's really much important here. I think I did misclick the wrong normal move on one of the turns. Yeah, or no, not this next turn. Like I clicked like focus energy instead of follow me, but it didn't even matter. Just like I dodged power whip on the wellspring, but like it wasn't even like that's not even like enough to possibly ever win this game. So yeah, there's definitely kind of like lost on matchup here, but maybe I could have played it better if I like preserved Torn a little bit, but I just like wasn't sure it was possible. And like I was kind of playing around the it being like the original Pinglu set on this team when it was not. It had Whirlwind, so that just kind of like doomed it. It's interesting to see this without Ruination, but I mean, obviously, like it got me really hard. And I was like going like the next week, I was like really worried about like something like this being loaded into me because like while like the technology to beat teams like this really consistently does exist, like they can be pretty bad into opposing like bulk up Dogi. as well as like Deancey can be annoying for them. This team in particular is pretty good into Deancey because you have a lot of things for it, including the gold. But the thing is, like bringing Okidogi with bulk up is like a little bit more committal than running something like Assault Vest on it or whatever. So it's kind of difficult to account for these teams while accounting for other stuff in the tier at the same time. And so trying to find ways to make the matchup like at least playable is a big challenge. And so yeah, in the immediate aftermath of this game, I was like trying to figure out like what I could load in game two that wasn't going to risk like auto losing to this, like a very similar team to this. And what I settled on doing was just kind of like I built a team that was also kind of aimed at like counter teaming his scout, but it was definitely like a better team than this one all around. It had like strength stats in me, which I thought would make the matchup at least like somewhat playable if he ran it back. So that's what I ended up doing in game two. And let's see. Yeah, this is an incredible matchup. I'm focus energy Hearthflame, so it kind of just like wins the game immediately. The funny thing about this team was I actually made it booster energy, swords dance, fake out iron hands, which like probably didn't really need to be done, but it was just like kind of funny. And I'd been sitting on the idea for a while, so you know, had to bring it. This turn I decided to play defensively around like a potential Volcarona Terra. It got like really heavily rewarded because it was actually the Kyurem that Terra'd. And I actually like because of this I dodged Dragon Tail and get chip on his Kyurem. And this turn I was like, okay, I just wanted to kill the Kyurem and then just like he's already burned Terra, so Wellspring or not Wellspring, Hearthflame could probably just win the game with Terra. And even though I let my moon go down, which is like kind of bad, it's like still fine. I get hands in, quick fake out. I get immediate flame bodied, which is kind of annoying. And then he reveals Scary Face, which was like definitely like really scary. I think it would have been more dangerous if he didn't reveal this turn and like instead clicked it like the next turn because now that I know it's like an option he has, like it becomes a lot more difficult. But thankfully on this turn, like the Ursuluna doesn't have like actual damage threat because you know it's not burned. I have opted to protect anyway just in case. And Sinistcha, like, obviously is just going to sit on it. And if I have, since I have Strength Sap, the Cine just kind of wins the endgame by itself. This is like really one of the Strength Sat Cine. Like, it can just get into positions where the opponent cannot possibly knock it out, which is like kind of degenerate. So, Pow is in. I just needed to do like one more big chunk of damage probably into this Wellspring, and it should win the game. Or into the Cine, that would be like especially nice. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm in like just a really great position, and Cine just kind of wins. So this game was in the opposite to the last game. It was kind of just one on matchup for me, which was nice, especially after losing game one like really really badly. But yeah, there's just kind of no way for the Sinister to be knocked out. So yeah, GG. So game three was like really really close. I opted to run back the same team just because I wasn't like sure if I was had anything else that was like really confident into a scout. And this matchup, while it's still like say it's like slightly positive for me, it's not as good as the last one where I just kind of like won it by default. So there's a couple things I was thinking. Like Glamora is like kind of annoying. Thankfully, he doesn't actually lead it, so I don't really need to worry about it like immediately. But it's still dangerous. But Roy Moon has a great matchup here, and so does Lando. Lando can kind of win the game by itself in the late game if everything gets chipped. So that's really nice. This first turn, I think I just clicked pick out, probably Tailwind. I was really on this first turn. I was really just like afraid of it like randomly being like superpower or like play rough or flame for no reason. But it ends up it's actually like SD. I'd seen this team in his scout, but I'm not sure if I'd like closely looked at it. And the Sword Stance comes out here, and that's like pretty annoying. But thankfully, like my Iron Hands is SD, and I can just like kind of like click Terra Fire on it. This was like really committal. I'm not sure if this was correct, like fully in hindsight, because it makes me so much weaker to Glamora. But it seemed like the easiest way to deal with the Heartflame. So I clicked Taunt to like stop potentially parting shot. He actually hard switches, which is really nice play by him. And yeah, so the Heartflame is going to be pretty annoying to deal with, but also my hands is going to be really annoying to deal with for now. So I can force a lot of progress with his hands. But the thing is, like, I am Terrifier Fire Punch, but Gold is still going to be annoying with like Grassy Seed, right? So um, put Tailwind again, keep the speed advantage in my favor, and look at this +1 booster attack Dream Punch into Corn. Does over half. That's like a lot of damage. um, but Gold comes in here, and I don't like actually properly punish this at all, and so this becomes pretty scary. I end up having to trade a lot of material to get rid of the gold, more than I probably would have liked to. I switch in Pow to like try to get sort of ruined, but he smartly switches Instant here. I'm clear Amulet, which is revealed. And again, I kind of just like took a very predictable click here. I think maybe like hitting into the Torn slot and killing the Instant would have just won me the game. But this turn I had two bonds that could hit the gold. I just wanted to chip it at all. I didn't care if like Pow went down. So I clicked Throat Chop, which is a lot of damage. This turn, like again, I was like, okay, I'm comfortable trading the mons that I have for the gold because I think dealing with it is priority number one right now. And Roaring Moon Lando, I think, can still win this game in the late game. So yeah, there's Fire Punch, pick out into Pow. Again, just double attacking. Like losing Pow kind of sucks, but like it's not like the most important Pokemon in this matchup. It's more losing the health on hands that's annoying. So down goes gold. I've made a lot of progress with those hands, but I think I'm still weak to Glamora, which kind of sucks. But I was like, okay, like I don't really feel like switching out anything here. I'll just look Tailwind plus Fire Punch, even though I'm at -1, still going to do a fair amount of damage into this Rilla. Um, Maybe I could have been like more defensive here, and like I don't know, I could have switched City. That might have been nice, but I just wanted damage on Rilla, make it susceptible to like Lando late game. So Rilla's just going to click U-turn, I think, into Moon. Fair amount of damage. Horn comes in. My Lando is faster than all Glamora, so it's pretty safe. I am gonna like have to proc T spikes here to like kill the Gloom for Sash, which kind of sucks, but it's not the end of the world. Look, Sanseer here, kind of like predicting a switch, which may be a little bit dumb. I ended up doing it again, which was like maybe a little bit ill advised, but I was just like, I don't want to like let the Rillaboom in for free. I think I probably still should have clicked Earth Power to be honest, but it is what it is. And so now I was like, oh wait, I kind of screwed up. My Torn or not Torn, my Roaring Moon doesn't have Protect, sub taunt, so that actually kind of sucks. So this turn I actually kind of screw up. I think what my safest play was probably to. Well, okay, it's like a few things here, right? Like it's a complicated turn, right? Because the Harflame can kill the Landorus. It has speed advantage. The thing I can just go into run, which is a really safe play. But if I opt to like defensively, like I couldn't like protect the Landorus plus like bring it switch in one of my redirectors, which would be really good for me. But then I was like worried that he'd like attack with Harflame into the Roaring Moon slot. But I feel like that's such a difficult click for him to make that I probably should have just like switched in the Cine here anyway. And since I have two redirectors, it's like fine. If the Cine goes down, like I can just bring in my Heartflame and then like the Landorus plus Heartflame should win the game. So I really should have protected Landorus and gone Sinistra here in all cases. Um, but I didn't. I just switched the other slot around in Saxony. This is a really bad play. Just I'm like so far ahead that it like doesn't really matter. But this is just a terrible click. I mean, it does cover for like Ivy Cudgel into Moon. But I think there was just like not really much of a reason to click this. I think since I have two redirectors, I should have been more willing to like sacrifice, like fully sacrifice it on this slot. Uh, Maintain Lando on the same board. Because really the challenge here is maneuvering the redirection plus Lando on the same board. So yeah, so this is going to go down. Uh, Take out into Roaring Moon. Now I will at least get Tailwind up um, in Fury, but the Roaring Moon gets doubled in two, and like I can't really risk the health on Heartflame here by doing anything, so I don't want to like follow me because I wasn't confident that Moon Lando could win the game by itself. And so now this becomes a 50-50 because Instant can like obviously click fake out into Heartflame and like Ivy Coach my Lando, but if I double protect, then it becomes like really awkward the next turn, and like I can just like attack into the Heartflame. There's no way to like really like actually remove the Lando. Um, or the Lando can just like kind of win because it's like no progress has been made. So I was like, okay, this is what he can do here is like switch out into Rillaboom and like have fake out pressure the next turn. And I was like, okay, well that's just a 50-50. But like I was like, okay, my opponent's like relatively unheard of before this tournament. But they've obviously been playing like very, very well um, to make it this far. And like I noticed like a lot of their games, they beat like very good players. And I was like, so I was pretty confident that they would try to like get the Rillaboom in here and like take me out the next turn, and I just lose the game unless I double protect. So I was like, okay, this is like a really big risk. But I'm just going to mash follow me plus Sanseer. And I get the call right. It's just a 50-50 at the end of the day. And I Sanseer. I probably should have overpowered again, but whatever. Um, and now like the Landorus just wins the game. So that was a really, really critical 50-50 here. The Landorus is bulky enough that I don't really have to worry about dying to anything. I'm like 200 HP EVs, nothing like too crazy. But yeah, really tense endgame. Getting the 50-50 right was pretty huge. So that's going to be the game. Unless it's like Shuka Instant. I'm pretty sure it's a max roll on Flare Blitz, by the way, which is funny. But, you know, yeah, Landorus, what it does best, beats Instant Roll Boom Heartflame. That's what it does. So, yeah. In the end, the Landorus wins the game. I really probably could have played this better. I'm not sure like the hands was like supposed to Terra like that. But, and I was definitely supposed to bring the Cine in on the slot and protect the Lando and get redirection and then just win the game that way. So definitely a small amount of trolling from my end, but we take those. The team was like very good that I loaded. I just didn't like actually execute it that well in game three. Game two was fine. Game one I couldn't really do anything, but game three I could have played better, and I kind of just like ended up bailing myself out by winning the 50-50. But it happens. All right, so now I was in the finals, and you know this was like a very very high stakes game, I guess. And I kind of like went through a lot of building stuff. I had a lot of help from my friends in prep, but I really wasn't like convincingly sold on anything. But I did notice that I didn't really have any Curum in my scout, and I figured that like it would be pretty nice here to bring like some solo Curum, maybe even a snow team. So I decided to like actually end up doing both of those things and have like kind of just like all the rest of my teams, which I was like fully willing to reload if like the vibes were right, like kind of like on the back burner just in case. So I opted to build this kind of like solo Curum team with Grassy Seed Gold, which looked good into the scout. And yeah, this game was played yesterday, so I kind of like more accurately remember what I was thinking at the time. So yeah, so like first turn here, a lot of options. I was expecting this Glora to be Meteor Beam and just like kind of like Meteor Beam into my like Curb slot. I don't want to race itself this early. It's like incredible value into this matchup. So the most important thing here, I actually like kind of saw this scenario playing out like when I even led Kieran. I was just like, okay, I'll just bait the Meteor Beam into gold. Didn't actually work out that way. He opts to just like double protect here. And I aggressively clicked U-turn. Probably clicking Fig Out was safer, but I really wasn't expecting like an actual double up to go into the Rilla. On this turn, I feel like that would have been very committal with like Kieran on the board. So yeah, gold is in. Earth power into gold. Not a whole lot of damage. Make it rain. That's just going to kill the Glim. And I'm just going to get the U-turn off. Which is a great turn, too. Like, I'm already in an incredible position. Like, Kyurem's at full health. The best way to remove it is dead. And I've kind of, like, won the game already. What would have been scary is, like, knock off the Sludge Bomb into Rilla. But, uh, like, the gold is obviously, like, pretty threatening as well, especially with potential redirection in the back. So now the Ursa Luna comes in here. And I opted to defensively protect the moon, and I got like immediately like jump scared by Calm Mind Blood Moon, which is all of a sudden pretty scary, right? So like, okay, it's probably leftovers. I'll try to like knock off its lefties. No protect, which is pretty nice for me, right? My best way to break this is now going to be the Wellspring, probably because obviously it's boosting its SPDF, and I don't really have like incredible ways to damage it. Uh, so this next turn, I'm like, okay, I'll just like click Tailwind Woodhammer. It probably tears here, but if it doesn't, I'd like still like the damage. But pretty big uh, Terra there. It's Terra Bug, which is like really, really scary. Woodhammer into Ursaluna. And now it's like, okay, how do I remove this Pokemon? This was like, it went from like great position to like really bad position, like really fast. And Vacuum Wave actually comes out before I can do anything with the Roaring Moon. But you turn really big crit there, actually, to like deal some more damage into the Ursaluna. That's pretty lucky of me. But now I get my, my focus energy up. And now it's like kind of awkward for him because like he can't redirect the Wellspring. And the double up probably kills thanks to that critical hit the last turn, which was like again really lucky. But like previously, like he would have been forced to range powder to like because like my Terra Ivy Cudgel will still like knock out the Lando, right? But um, because of that crit, I can afford to just like not do that, and I just like get the kill on the Ursulin, and the game's kind of just over. But it's still kind of tricky. The Bass can still win with like last respects, so not like super easy here, but the Kyurem again, like so much health, easy for switch it on this board. Get the golden as well too, just like really safe switch ins. So she goes for Machagata. Not really a big deal. Moon comes in. I can just like click Glaciate. No target into the gold. Really nice. I was just like, okay, I can just win the game with like redirection plus Rillaboom now in the late game. That's like fine. Eject Bunny Cine is really funny. Now I have like Glaciate plus gold pressure again. And this shit I don't really fully understand why he clicked what he clicked. It was like a very aggressive play. He opts to kill the Cure and not go for fake out, which I think was like a little bit strange, but um I get the shadow ball into Ask and now the game is just actually over. I just didn't want to like actually like let up any momentum. I just wanted to like into Bask, sometimes you just kinda like have to like put damage into it and then hope you can kill it with your back mon. So that's what happens and it ends up being fine. Maybe I could have preserved the gold, but like, you know, it's like fine. I was pretty sure I could beat the Cine anyway with like the full health Lando, plus like the help from like the other ones. Right, so that's game one. I go up one game. Game two, I decided to go to the Stow. Stow is an archetype I really don't like that much, but I hadn't used it at all, so I thought it'd be solid. I actually, I kind of decided to build like a pretty similar team to what Ann had. It was like a sample a couple of years ago. I think Frixel used it a lot when he won OSDT, but it was like Wellspring over Cine. I was like, okay, I'll make it Cine and I'll like focus it more on the Gambit, which is like less common now and less good than it used to be. But here it actually has a pretty good matchup, especially with like Terra Dragon, which is what I have. But the Ninetales ends up being like very annoying for it in this game. So I get the Kyurem instant lead here, pretty safe into the team. Rillaboom comes in, easy fake out into Volcanion and Earth Power. I just want to damage the Volcanion. Volcanion is the most annoying thing here in Fury. It's actually Shuka Berry. It doesn't take that much damage, but burning the Shuka Berry is still really nice. Take out into Kyurem. My Instin's actually revealed to be faster than the Volcanion, which is funny. I'm like pretty speedy on Instant, but that's like the first time like that specific speed creep has actually mattered. Because I think I was like 178 speed on my Instant or something. So yeah, the Volcanion damage is really good. But yeah, I don't really have a way to easily remove this Ninetales, which is kind of annoying. Oh, and this Heatwave burn is like really, really annoying. I guess it's like justice for like the U-turn crit in the previous game, but like losing the health on Kyurem here kind of sucks. Gambit switch in here, pretty safe, but I'm gonna have to worry about Encore, and I don't really like adequately play around this at all either. So I really should have gone like instant on this turn. I don't know why I stayed in. I think maybe I just like glaciate, um, but now it's like I'm kind of out of position. I really should have just gone instant on the previous board. Because now the Ninetales can just encore my Gambit, and I kind of just like foiled the opportunity to like actually like set up with it. I don't really know why I clicked uh stayed in there with Kyurem. But then it's Rocks Landers, it's like, okay, wait, I just actually like well, I thought I was like up ahead enough that it didn't really matter, but the Rocks Landers puts me in a really bad position. So yeah. Now I'm encored into Sucker, which is like untenable. So I switch out. Thankfully I'm Boots Ensign. But this game is still looking pretty tricky, right? So Blizzard, not really any damage at all for the Veil. And the gold actually comes in here, and it's Grassy Seed, which is quite bad. And now, like, I'm just really out of position now to like try to deal with this gold, this Terra. So thankfully, Gambit still has a good typing here, but it's not really going to be able to break the gold by itself behind Veil. So I do get the incident, but the heads up Landorus, which is very good. I don't really he doesn't let me get away with like any kind of momentum here. I do have fake out pressure, but that's really not the greatest. I mean, I could Sucker plus Flare Blitz to try to cover for Ninetales, but it takes it really well, and I just like, it's just kind of cooked. And this was kind of the turn where I think I like screwed up the most. I was probably supposed to just like Flare Blitz again into Ninetales, but I just didn't. I felt like I was so far behind. Um, but Flare Blitz in the gold here was just kind of a brain dead click. I really should have just killed the Ninetales. And now that like the chip was nice, but it's just like barely not enough to get the kill the next turn. And I'm not knockoff, so it's not like I could have that either. So um, now the game's just kind of over. I kind of need to get lucky on like the roll on the gold to try to make a way back into this game. I am Psychic Landorus, so it's like maybe winnable, but the gold lives, and yeah, it's just not great. Hmm. Do get some damage out here with Blizzard. Or no, fail. Okay, and then I think I Blizzard the next turn, but it's not the greatest position. Like Lando could maybe still win this game, but it's like really pushing it at this point. especially because like the burn on Kirim, I'm just like not. I'm losing health every turn, which kind of sucks. Kirim goes down now. If I double hit Blizzard, there's maybe still a chance, potentially with like Instant and Lando, but I double miss both, which is like, I mean, I don't think I was really winning this game anyway, but that definitely seals it. Like, it's just over now. Um, so yeah, that's GG's. So now it's going to go to game three. I really wasn't happy with how I played this, but honestly, the team, not the greatest either. I mean, it's like fine, but I just kind of like fumbled the opportunity to beat the Ninetales. That's like my bad. Just like, I got too comfortable being like ahead. Easy mistake to make. I felt like looking psychic for fun, but it doesn't really do anything unless I crit the Lando on that turn, so. That's GG. Okay, game three. I opted to go back to the same Trick Room team. This team had been like Trick Room still looked good into Giver because Scout. I didn't want to load it game one because like you know I'd used it before, but it still looked really good, right? So I think this is one of the best teams I had in my builder. I was like, okay, I'll load it here. It's just like off vibes. Like if I'm tilted, I feel like this is a good way to like like kind of calm down and try to win the game. So Ninetales Glamora lead here. I do have like fake out plus Trick Room pressure. Glamora is kind of annoyed into this team though. And I really don't want Veil to go up because it's going to really negate my ability to like deal with like the rest of the Mons in the back with like my actual offensive Trick Room pieces. So I decided to hard switch Torkoal to try to stop Ninetales. Lamar just goes for rocks, but then Ninetales goes for Roar. But thankfully it pulls in the DNC, and this is an incredible position for DNC because now I can have Trick Room pressure again. I mean, like I think most of the Pokemon I could have pulled in here were fine. I just really didn't want it to be like Rillaboom. But that was like a really annoying Roar. But now Dancy can just kind of like attack protected Torkoal because I thought it might be useful later. And Diamond Storm, he goes for Roar again, but now the Roar Pokemon is dead, so that's really nice. No Diamond Storm boost though, that's kind of sad. That would have like made the game like way easier if I pulled a Diamond Storm boost immediately, but it's fine. Ursaluna gets the free guts off of the T spikes, which is like fine. Um, I didn't play around the taunt moon. I probably should have just Diamond Stormed again, but it's like he didn't really have any offensive pressure into me, so it's like fine going for Trick Room, even if the taunt was kind of telegraphed. And now I get the Diamond Storm off. I kill the moon. Finally get a defense boost. I mean, not really finally. It's only my second attempt, but it's nice. Now Ursulina like is still like annoying. Like it's not completely trivial to deal with. And I was like, I'll just double attack here. I do have Terra on DNC, but my opponent can't really KO both Pokemon, and my Crest is still at full health. So it's like if I can get Trick Room up again, like it's fine. And he actually overreads, and I get the to just double attack again. Unfortunately, my Ursulina loses the tide of my DNC, so I don't get the facade into the Ursulina, which kind of sucks. But I'm still like I've had so much material in this game just by clicking attacks and not letting my opponent get any like free switch-ins here. And I do the kind of the same thing again, and just like it ends up being Calm Mind Ursulina again. So thankfully, I had the foresight to just like attack again, which I think I probably should have just doubled attacked, maybe like burned Terra on DNC. But I kind of just thought like Crest could win the game anyway. And I have like a lot of Spadef on my Ursaluna, so the Ursaluna ends up just like living everything and killing everything. And now it's like pretty safe because like the Ursaluna is always going to get one more attack off here, and I can just try to get Trick Room up with my Crest. And I shouldn't. I was pretty sure I wouldn't die to like Cudgel plus like Glide. Unfortunately, the Cudgel actually crits my Crest, which really sucks. And now I'm in Glide range. But I'm pretty sure like my Torkoal can just win the game here with the assistance of like the Rillaboom in the back. The T Spikes is annoying, but um, I end up just like getting the eruption off, and it's like yeah, it's just like really easy. Crit might have mattered. I don't think it really mattered for the game, but especially because like I got the Lunar Blessing into Torkoal, so yeah. So yeah, the Torkoal just ends up winning the game by itself. Um, really funny game for end game. It was like kind of scuffed to be honest, but um, it's like fine. And yeah, so that's how I won OSCT with the aid of the many good teams that I loaded and the assistance of my friends for like prepping in the last couple of weeks when I like really put in more effort into it. So really grateful for that. I had a lot of people rooting for me as well who I didn't really do any prep with, but I still really appreciated that. I think that was like really sweet. So yeah, that's the game. Now I guess we'll go over the teams. I'll probably pause the recording to get some water and stuff. But so yeah, that's that. So yeah, I mean, pretty decent games all around. I think like I didn't like really play my best like either of the last two rounds, but I had like good team matchups in some most of the games, so it was like fine. And I played like fine enough, but I think I did like make a couple of mistakes, and especially in top four and game two here. So yeah, I mean it was not the perfect run, but like still something I think to be like kind of proud of. I think I played like fine. Um, so we'll take it, and yeah, we'll go over the teams in a sec. We're back. We're now going to go over some of the teams that I built. Probably like my favorites, probably just from like bottom up. So I kind of just like used this one folder for like the entire tour. I built a few new things, but most of them, like about like half I had at the beginning. I kind of like added on as I went on. Some of the teams didn't make the cut that I built, and they ended up in this less broken folder, which was kind of funny. Um, but yeah, we'll just start at the bottom. This team is, I mean, it's only kind of here because I added the last second. Um, it was like fine. I built this for C and SCL. It's like fine. It's a fun snow team with like Cornerstone to beat Vincent. Gold behind screens is nice, especially when paired with like the Cornerstone specifically. Decent team. Don't really have a whole lot to say on it. This was like another. I didn't actually end up loading this team either, but it was just like a really solid, like Roaring Moon good stuff team that has Valiant. It's like kind of just like the main special attacker. Pretty nice. It's just a really solid team. It's just kind of like generic Roaring Moon stuff, so I didn't really like feel like too specifically attached to it in any matchups, so I didn't really end up loading it. But it's a good team. Uh, just specs Valiant, yeah. Taunt Moon, just standard sets for the most part. Fairly bulky wall screen. This is before I ended up putting like a lot of focus energy on this. If I built this now, it might be focus energy over like Hornleech, but it's like fine. And then I was like also running like a lot of Snarl on Ensign, which I don't think I actually ended up doing a whole lot on tour, but I have a few teams with that. And this is another team I used a couple times. I also similarly built this in SCL. I thought it was like one of the best teams I had from that period. It's the main thing with this is just Terraflying Weakness Policy DNC with Iron Hands, can Sidebolt Switch and proc the policy. And then just like it's the first team where I really put Strings Hat on Sinistra. And I was like, wait, this is like so broken in so many matchups. It's so strong. You're just like recovering your health all the time and like limiting physical attackers. It's also like the best Pokemon in the game into Ursaluna, which is like incredible as well. So yeah, really nice. And then just like standard Ursaluna offense stuff. And then Volcanion to try to patch like the most annoying matchups for this screens team, like gold. It doesn't really have the greatest gold matchup, but it's like it's not unplayable. But certain gold sets plus like the right redirection could be annoying for this. Yeah, this is like the team that won me so many games in cut. This is like a team that I also built in SCL. I was like really proud of this team. I think it's just like really good. About as good as it could possibly be, to be honest. Like the one thing that could be changed is like the Heartflame set. It might not necessarily need to be Glide, but it's like having the priorities nice. And then it's something like we'd come up with back in SCL with like Fire Punch and Ursaluna with Torkoal to kill Sinistra with your Ursaluna, which is really funny. And then it's just like standard stuff with like the Crest and the DNC, which is really nice. So yeah, good stuff. Yeah, that's just a great team. Crest is like really feels a little bit underexplored to me. It has so much bulk. And it pairs really nicely with Lunar Blessing for Ursaluna, obviously. I feel like you, in a lot of positions, you don't actually get the chance to actually end up clicking Lunar Blessing in the modern metagame. Into like more passive teams, you do, but a lot of teams will have like Taunt for your crest or something. But oftentimes, yeah, you just want the mental orb to get up one trip room and then switch out your crest for something more offensive. And then uh, that's the nice thing about DNC and Torkoal. They can like create space for like the other one to come in on the other slot. So that's pretty nice. And yeah, so on to the next one. Okay, so yeah, then the next team is a one that I use a lot in the early rounds. I think this is a great team for like just like playing Pokemon, to be honest, and just like kind of trying to like outmaneuver your opponent. It's very similar to like the Reg F Japan balance, except it's Calm Mind Spectre instead of Calm Mind Bolt. And I think this is like it's just a really nice team, especially like when you feel like you can like kind of outclock your opponent. Whenever that comes up, it's really nice. It's Glide Heartflame. I think it's Impish. Yeah, it's Impish on this team, and it's just like normal stuff. It's like Icy Wind Pow. It's like very similar to like the Reg F team. I just feel like Bolt is kind of like outclassed in this tier. Like this is a team that like definitely exists with like Combine Bolt, but Combine Spectre is actually really nice. It's faster, gets up combines a lot quicker, and can snowball more easily. So this was like a really I built it when I built this. I knew I immediately had something. I got used this like 5 or 6 times in the early rounds of OSDT. It's just an incredible team, and it's just like Icy Wind Power. Like DOU has kind of had some similar metagame development to like Reg F in like a lot of ways, and like Icy Power is like very strong. We had our period where that was used, and we kind of went to cure him. But ultimately, like these teams don't have as hard speed control as like some of the Roaring Moon teams. So some of the more optimized Roaring Moon teams can like be a little bit annoying. There's like Roar Instant as well for like random tech matchups. But yeah, I really think highly of this team. It's incredible, really. But like yeah, I mean, it's like not reinventing the wheel at all. It's just I think Spectre is an incredible combine Pokemon because like as soon as it gets going, it can be so difficult to stop thanks to like the recovery from Draining Kiss. But I think it really makes it a lot more flexible than the Bolt that was usually in this slot. Which like Bolt is like obviously a great Pokemon, but the metagame conditions for Combine Bolt are not as great in DOU. So Spectre is a little bit easier to make work. Let's see. Okay, yeah, this is a very standard like Genie's team, kind of similar to like the one that I had that was a sample. I don't think I actually ended up using this. I built a more dishonest Genie's team that I used once. But this is fine. It's like play rough over bond. You can hit Rune with it, which is nice. Bolt as AV, I think is nowadays I think the Torn teams kind of want Bolt instead of Hands because it has a little bit more interesting utility. It's more like generally useful. Like Hands is still good, but I think specifically it's less good on these teams that I used to be like very, very strong on. And then it's just the standard gold stuff, which you don't really have the greatest stuff to pair it with because you're not using Moon. I think Moon Gold is a lot stronger than Torn Gold generally, specifically for like the plot sets. That's part of what makes Moon so good, but you can still support it. It's like a fun team. So yeah, synergy stuff. And this is like a Pow Knight team. I had a couple of these. This was the one that I thought was better. I don't think this team seems good on paper, but I'm not sure I ever actually won a test game with it, which is funny as hell. But yeah, it's just like Dogi to beat like normal things. It's like a fine team. Maybe like the D Knight's supposed to be scale shot. I think that was the other version. Um, but maybe the problem with it is like I don't have fake out and I don't really have a way to support the gold, so that might be the problem. But it's like fine. I think it's a decent team. Paladin is like kind of hard to get work. The tier is like it's a very strong, but there's a lot of things in the tier now that can like actually just like happen to beat it. So it's not as like easy to load as you might think it would be, which is good I think because like this stuff is like really degenerate if it's too strong. Like Pound Knight and like early SV, just like hang it up, man. It's too annoying. Let's see. Okay, let's see. So this is like the first Elizabeth team that I ended up using a lot. I had Wellspring on it. This was like just basically a one-to-one port of like the Elizabeth team. Like I just like changed the slot from Pow to Wellspring. Very, very strong fundamental team. Like it's just like the ability to like click these buttons with the Ting Lu is really strong. I think it's a lot better than or it's a really not necessarily better, but it's a really interesting direction with Ting Lu compared to like what we usually did with it in DOU. And like Terra Blast to hit like Harf Flame and Wellspring Pokemon is like really, really strong. And especially with like coaching and Howl, it's just like so nice. And then like D Knight is pretty good as well. D Knight's like not the strongest, but it's like okay. I have several iterations of this team as we'll see in this folder. This is just kind of the standard one. I really didn't like POW on it. I felt like it created too many shared weaknesses. Oh, especially like the fairy type as well. It's like I don't know. I was just like not a big fan of it. I felt like Wellspring was really nice coaching recipient and like kind of like rounded out the team pretty nicely. Let's see. Okay. The most important thing is like it's something in this slot that like could at least like do something to Lando is pretty important. This is kind of a boring snow team. There are like similar teams out there, but I just like I wanted to have like a kind of standard Calm Mind Bolt with snow. There's versions of this that have Okie Dokie on them, and they're like maybe a little bit better, but yeah, it's just like standard stuff. Same like Scarf Landorus on snow, like AV Kyurem, Calm Mind Bolt, normal stuff. This is like a Volcarona build. I don't think it's the original. The original actually had like Pounds or something, but someone I don't really know who. I think it was originally Kunal put like Lando on it on the Volcarona team. Because I started like experimenting with Volcarona like last SCL, and I thought it was like really really strong. It ended up not being quite as strong as I thought it was, but I think it's still really really dangerous. And like the more especially, a lot of the tier is like very special, offense heavy. A lot of the time, so Volcarona definitely has like a really strong niche, but uh, I didn't actually end up using it. I feel like it was like a little bit outdated by the time this tour came around. The only important decisions here are the U-turn on Wellspring, which is nice, and then uh, like Heavy Slam and Ice Punch because you want to be able to hit Nancy and you want to be able to hit Landorus. So pretty big stuff here. Just like nothing too crazy. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, this is originally an ESM team. A lot of people have used this six, but it's just very good. Um, Amogus and Deancey, very strong core, and then paired with like Roaring Moon, Landorus, Wellspring, like just like solid stuff. Deancey's not actually min speed, but it's still pretty slow, but you can like at least do a little bit more with a tailwind than normal. I think this is like a little bit outdated now, but like it's still a very good, strong fundamental core, and like it still continues to see play. I think his EVs on the Wellspring. This is like a public team. His EVs on the Wellspring are probably a little bit outdated. I'd want it to maybe be. I feel like you don't want double redirection. You want it to be like focus energy on this now. Um, I just think this like focus energy is such an applicable set for like making your team more resistant to like random grassy seed gold stuff, and then like an extra option into Ting Lu teams, and then just it's just like generally very good these days. So yeah, that's that. Let's see. Oh yeah, here's the Shister Goltris team. Just like very good, just strong team. It's like fine. It does have a few like notable weaknesses, which I was able to exploit when I played my top four opponent. Like you know, it's still very good. I think it's like pretty weak to Heartflame in like the wrong positions, especially like Focus Energy Heartflame like has an incredible matchup, but otherwise it's very good. Like Roaring Moon, Specs Gold, and then Blood Moon is like the nice like blue Pokemon. So decent team. I think I made a version of this with Volcarona that I actually used, but I don't think I actually used the Voltris version. And this is something I filled in later. It's just like a standard Bronzong or Saluna team. I wanted to have the option. I think it's decent. It's Psychic Noise Bronzong to like stop Sinistra from like screwing with your Saluna, stop them from clicking Stripe Sap or like Matcha Gotcha, which is nice. And then you have your own Sinistra, and then Taunt Wellspring to like try to like subvert normal counterplay to this stuff. It's like okay. I don't think this is like any. This is nothing like groundbreaking or anything. There are like very similar teams. It's just like my specific like version of the six, and then like Moltres is like fine with it as well, just for like the other odd matchups. Let's see what else we got. Okay, so this is a very old team. It's just like hyper offense with Chiyu and Choice Spec Spectre. There are like similar teams that are out there. Bagel had like a pretty common version that was like Glamora over something. But yeah, this is like my version that I've had for forever. Again, it's like Ice Punch and Heavy Slam because you want both matchups. This game's like again like a little bit outdated, but you could definitely like still load it. I made it Taunt Torn at some point. It used to be like Icy Wind, but I think Taunt is better in the current day and age. This is like a Rain team that I've had for forever. Never ended up loading it, but like it's a solid team. I think Rain is like really underexplored. It's like it has like very high upsides into these more bulkier teams, and I feel like especially into people that don't use a whole lot of Wellspring, it's very strong. Like into Harflame people, like Kindra is like potentially very annoying. The only annoying thing is not being like faster than Moon. But I think if you like really want to, you can like run like timid Kingdra. But you will give up some of the calcs. Like Hydro Pump has some really funny calcs with like Max Modest where it'll like kill Ting Lu and stuff. And like kill Gouging Fire. Just like really funny things with Hydro Pump. You can also be Weather Ball. Like timid Weather Ball is like probably fine. It'll just be doing noticeably less damage, but like you're still probably doing enough damage. And then like Hurricane to hit the upper ponds is nice as well. And then Swords Dance Wellspring. In the end, I ended up putting Superpower on it to like be annoying for Kyurem because Kyurem is annoying for this kind of archetype, especially with Freeze Dry. But it's not completely unplayable, especially with like Snarl and Sin. Yeah, this is a team I used in Derby. Kind of like very like Reg D coded team because it's like you're Amoonguss, you're Iron Hands, and you're like Chi-Yu. Very like early SV coded. It's like fine, pretty decent team. I think it lost the game I brought it to in OSDT, but it won the Derby game. It's like it's just like fine. It's maybe a little bit too honest. Not having Protect on Moon is kind of troll. It probably is supposed to not be taunt, to be honest, but it's like fine. It's okay. Like Amoonguss is a funny Pokemon. It has some interesting matchups. Like Spore is really good. Smog is also nice in this tier because there's so much like setup now. It's not like everywhere, but like yeah, Smog is gonna have games where it's really nice. Lost Box, kind of standard stuff. I have like a version with Okidogi. I think bulk up Okidogi is weaker than it used to be. I think people have gotten better at dealing with it, but like it's still pretty good at like fishing stuff. I think the overlap in typing matchups is like uh pretty nice between Moltres and like Okidogi. Like you can pick one of these guys and they should be able to win the game in theory, maybe. And the actual time I loaded this in the tour, I was against Dubious and he loaded like Roar Instant and I just like lost immediately. It's like oops. Because I'd like committed the Dogi wasn't good in the matchup, so I didn't feel comfortable like leading it. And then like I went with the Moltres, and then it got roared out, and I just kind of lost. So that was unfortunate, but it's like still an okay team. It's like very committal as an archetype, but like we've seen it like do pretty okay like time and time again. It's pretty good. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is like another like fairly common six. I just wanted to have it around. I think Size Spam is also like really underused. Like it's potentially really strong. It's just dealing with like Tinglu is like kind of a hurdle with it when you're building it. So I can see why it's not like more used more, you know, but it's like okay. It's like fine. This is like, you know, just like standard stuff. You got your Roaring Moon, Haunt again, Sandshire on Lando, normal stuff. Heartflame for like extra snow insurance. And also like Rilla. I think you have enough for Ensign with this team, although it could still be potentially annoying. It's a good team. It's a pretty good team. Size Spam is like definitely like a thing. This is like I made a couple teams that are based off of like the Utrecht team, so I have like Specs Curub and like Arcanine Hisui. So yeah, very similar to the TO team. I think like the lack of speed control kind of sucks. Lack of fake out, lack of speed control, and DOU is a little bit more rough, but it's like it's like okay. Like I think I could have loaded this at some point; it would have been fine. This is like the main Genies team I had. I think this team is very very dangerous. I really hate Spherical, but like it's very strong. Like fake out plus like decorating onto stuff and like follow me. It's annoying. It's really really annoying. And Spore obviously as well. So this team was like very good. Chiyu Torn is nice. Torn Lando is nice. Chiyu Smeargle is nice. Wellspring is nice. Like everything about it just kind of clicks. And Bolt is just like the best you're gonna do it, like rounding it out with like an actual like kind of defensive piece. You can play around with the moves on it. Snarl might be interesting, but I think it's fine. You have Snarl on Chiyu, but yeah, that's why I really like this team. I only loaded it once. It won though. It's like it's a good team. It's just like it's very offensive, but I think it's fine because it just has so much offensive pressure that it can kind of win games just with that. Yeah, here's a couple variations of like the Elizabeth stuff. This one is gold, and then like Tailwind D9. I think this is interesting. I haven't really tested this in all honesty, but like I thought it was like someone mentioned it to me, and I was like, oh, it's probably okay. Then like Bronzong is like the one I use. This is it's so funny. This set is like perfect for this team, in my opinion. And then yeah, just like the standard stuff from before. This is a very offensive Wims Regidrago team. Kind of again, I took a lot of inspiration this tour from like Second Coming of Reg F, which was like pretty fun to do. And then so this one is kind of based off of like a team like Keanu and like some other people I use, which is like Wims Regidrago and like Tailwind Dragon Energy. This is very good matchup with the Boring and stuff. You have to be like play really precisely with it, but I think like this team, when played right, is very dangerous. Like very, very strong if the whims is preserved correctly and like you just like navigate the situations right. You can beat just about anything. Um, yeah, I won this game. Won me a game really convincingly in Derby, and then I think it won me like the game that actually got me into cut in OSDT. It's a great team, but like it does, it is kind of tricky to play. I would not recommend this to like people who want like something that's like really like easy to use. I think it's like very like because if you let the whims die, it can be really annoying to position with it because it's like so integral to the team. But it's like okay, definitely like an archetype that's stronger in 4v4, but in 6v6 it's still like usable as long as you like preserve whims well enough. Yeah, this is a Shister team. I don't know if I actually made any edits to it. This team is just like really good, terrifying Tinglu. Just like click attacks, be annoying for your opponent. Good stuff. This is another size spam that I actually gave to Faye in Derby that he won with. It's like kind of modeled after like the team that won the UIC with like, or didn't win the UIC, got second, I think. It's like booster special, Calm Mind Iron Crown, and then like I decided to be Lando I instead of Lando T because Lando T just sucks. I hope people can like agree with me that Lando T sucks. But yeah, good stuff. Strong team, won the game. Never actually got loaded, but it deserved to be in the folder. Okay, Prim. This is like just like you know standard stuff. Hellmine Primarina fishes opposing Roaring Moon teams, and then like gold is nice spread damage, and then normal stuff. I made it I made the Heartflame superpower just for like extra insurance because I wasn't fully confident. Even as all the tech moves on the team, still wasn't like I still wanted one more thing to hit instant and opposing Roaring Moon. So yeah, okay, yeah. This is the Focus Energy Wellspring team with Glamora. Really solid team. Big fan of this one. Southwest Moon, good stuff. This is another funny team I didn't actually end up loading, but I made it a Leech Life Ensign that kills Ogrebon, and like the team tested fine enough that I never actually like drop it out of the folder. Uh, the cool thing about this team is these three Pokemon: uh, Rotom, Gold, and Quarterstone. Rotom and like Quarterstone, not too common. The Scarf set is like really nice with Gold, like potentially into like opposing like snow teams and stuff. Like really annoying. Like extra speed control for Roaring Moon seems really solid. I think this is really potentially a good Pokemon. There might be a better way to use it with like a better instant set, but I think this is a strong team. The focus energy on Cornerstone might be LARP. I don't think I ever really clicked that in test games, but yeah, I thought this was like a really cool team. I didn't get a chance to use. Yeah, this is the team that's kind of like Chris Numbers LARP that Chris Numbers himself got me to not load after it like lost a test game or something. It's like pretty okay. It's funny you like grassed out your Diancie with your Furrig, you're 1 point slower with it, and then you know brought back the Fire Punch Ursaluna. But like at the end of the day, it really is like why am I not just using the other team? But there's spirit to this team. Like you pair grass out into a poison Ursaluna and you just kill it. Like isn't that fun? Yeah, here's another snow team with like Plot Chiyu, normal stuff. It seemed funny. Uh, it's like probably pretty okay. Focus energy on Wellspring again. Just extra Incineroar insurance. Again, kind of missing speed control. Kira might make up for it. This team is probably pretty okay. It's just yeah, just to be honest, like I don't really know why I didn't use this. This is like a fine team. It's probably better than the other snow I had that I actually ended up using. Yeah, here's this team that I used in top four. Good stuff. Focus Energy Heartflame. That's really what it's built around. This was like I based it kind of off of a bagel team, but I switched some slots around. It had like Lamora and like Bolt, and I was like that. I don't like that. But I think like the core like four of like Pow, like Moon, Heartflame, and Sinistcha seemed really good. So it was just the addition of like the Lando in the hands that I thought like really completed the team for me. And then I think it's just a strong team into like opposing Roaring Moon users because like Clear Amulet Pow is really annoying for that. And it's just you have options. It could also be Icy Wind. I think the Bagel team that I like kind of modeled it after was Icy Wind. I think it was the team that Bagel used against C and SCL. I just like took notice of it and I was like, oh yeah, this looks like pretty good. So yeah, I think this is a really great way to like enable the Heart Flame, and then Sadistra with Strength Sap really rounds it out for me. Good stuff. Yeah, this team was very fishy. It was just like this also probably beats Roaring Moon teams if you play it right, but not an incredible team by any means. This is another Shister team that I modified a little bit. I put like it was like AV Instant before. I made it like Wisp, and then I made it AV Curum, and then I put Freeze Dry on the Ninetales. I don't really know why I did that, but I did. Uh, but yeah, I thought this was a decent team. I was really just like looking at a lot of different snow teams I could potentially load for finals. This was the one that seemed like the most feasible, but I didn't actually end up doing it because I built like this team the night before. It's like King Gambit Snow. It's okay. It's like fine. And yeah, here was the team I loaded in game one of finals. It's Grassy Seed Gold. It has Kyurem. I think it's just a decent, like, good stuffs team. This set is like probably a little bit LARP. Probably should be Spiky Sealed somewhere, but I didn't really figure out how to fit it. And I think I think it's nice to have the option to both click follow me and like damage opposing Wellspring while being focus energy. So good stuff. And then this is just kind of an edit of like the ESM team that I made with like Sinistcha instead. It might be usable. Haven't really tested it. But yeah, that's it. That's the team. I mean, all the teams. I think you can see like I had like such a great variety of stuff to load, so that was really nice to have. Um, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed breakdown of all the stuff that I did to win this tour. Um, yeah, I think the DOU is in a good spot right now. I think it's like pretty fun. Um, it feels very similar to me now to like Gen 8 and Gen 7. Like the archetypes are like kind of each archetype is like pretty fairly developed. You just like pick your archetype and then like the teams are all solid enough that you can like kind of just like queue up and play your games, which is pretty fun. It definitely feels like the most this is the most fun I've had playing SB in a long time. So yeah, decent format. I think a spot for Ben was really good. I don't think anyone has really been upset about the spot for being gone. So I think that's good. So yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.